It's truly an honor to be able to invite a teacher of so many of us in the room this evening to offer some words of Torah in honor of our colleague and our friend and our teacher, Rabbi Josh Knobel. Rabbi Richard Levy has been an incredible gift to our Los Angeles community and much more broadly to our entire movement and beyond. He has worked for many years at the Hebrew Union College, running the rabbinical program there, serving as campus rabbi. He's an author. His Haggadah is well known to so many of us in the room, as well as numerous other publications. He served as president of the Central Conference of American Rabbis. He's an extraordinary friend. He's an extraordinary person. He's an incredible Marbitz Torah, an incredible spreader and transmitter of Torah, and he is a dear and beloved friend and teacher to our Rabbi Josh Knobel. So it is so fitting that Rabbi Richard Levy can be here with us this evening to share words of Torah. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us.
Most people offered Bechukotai, this week's Torah portion, as the parashah for their installation as one of the rabbis at Stephen Wise Temple, might well try to change it. So many punishments graphically described if the people disobey the mitzvot. So many painful consequences graphically described for violating God's statutes. Couldn't we move back to last week, the new rabbi might ask, when we celebrated the Jubilee, or ahead to next week, when the Torah will lead us bravely into the wilderness? We don't really want to start a new rabbi's experience with the miseries of Bechukotai, do we? And that might be the response of most people. But if you thought that Rabbi Knobel would assume that this passage was negative, you have a lot of wonderful things to learn about your new rabbi. This is the portion for the weekend of June 3rd, I suspect he asked. Well, let's look at it. Yeah, there are all these punishments, but after the people have learned from them, they confess their sins, and God makes the covenant with the patriarchs real again, and with the law and with the land. What a wonderful statement, Rabbi Knobel may well have exclaimed. This is a great Torah portion. Really? Really? Because Rabbi Knobel was in the army, the West Point Army, the Afghanistan Army. He has led uplifting Shabbat services in a tent. Rabbi Knobel knows about hardships and fear of weapons and the heart of enemies. And he knows how to rejoice when the disturbing stories turn sunny, or how to find the sun in them. Though his experience has been with disobedience to human commanders, he can tell you how we need to extend that respect to the divine commander-in-chief as well. Disobedience is not our favorite word. Reform Judaism, we have been raised to think, is a religion of autonomy, choice through knowledge, when what we really obey are our individual principles of what is right. When some Ashkenazi Jews speak of being in the Tzivos Hashem, the armies of God, we often get very nervous. We would rather see ourselves as an army of one. And yet part of why you have invited Rabbi Knobel here and the other rabbis before him is to gain guidance on what our obligations are and what God wants us to do. What is appropriate prayer for us? When we study Torah together, how could we move beyond, isn't this a nice story, to what are the implications of this story for how we should live our lives? These are hard questions for Reform rabbis. Many times we will return the question, how do you think you should live your life? But I believe we need to stop doing that. I believe we need to start taking books down from our shelves and showing each other what the tradition says about obligation, what the Bible thinks, the Talmud, and contemporary thinkers, and your own rabbis. Really? Really? The learned gentlemen who lead you in prayer every week want to do more than that. They want to do more than discuss the Torah portion or even offer counsel in confusing times, as crucial as that is. They want to be your rabbis, to help you be more committed, more knowledgeable Jews, to tell you, this is what you should be doing as a Jew. Really? Yes, but I confess it is very hard to say. If one of you asked me, should I keep kashrut? I would say yes. It's in the Bible and the Talmud and contemporary readings on Reform Judaism. You should keep some aspects of kashrut. You should engage in some forms of Shabbat practice. You should study Torah. You should look for opportunities to do justice, to assist the poor, to learn Hebrew, to alleviate the plight of the aging. But because I am a Reform rabbi, to stand up and say you should do this is very difficult. Do this mitzvah and that one and that one. I need, and my colleagues need, some response from you. Because truth be told, we are less an individualistic religion than a dialogical one. This is what I make of this text. What do you make of it? I would go harder on this part and softer on this one. But the text is harder than I was. If we are talking about being faithful to the mitzvot of God, we need to listen to God's view as well. And that will not come crashing through the heavens at us. It will appear subtly in the pauses between our study and our conversation. What if keeping kosher gets in the way of going to a non-kosher friend's for dinner? If a Friday night Shabbat dinner means that we can't take in a movie with neighbors, well, we can say, kashrut will always be around. Shabbat will come back next week. The Yetzer Hara, our rebellious instincts, will always be very persistent. And so we, rabbis, need your help. For we need constantly to make war against the Yetzer Hara and its saying we don't have to or need to or can wait. And I suspect that Rabbi Knobel will be an inspiring commander. It is unlikely that we have sinned so grievously that the dire consequences of Bechukotai will be leveled against us. But their presence is a reminder of how important God takes doing mitzvot, and how important is the conclusion of this portion, as Rabbi Knobel might say, which offers the reward of the covenant, not only for your rabbis, but for you as well. Your rabbis, your cantor, all your clergy need your presence, your words, your insights, your troops. They need you as you need them to stand up to our obligations and then to bask in the sun. And that is very real. Rabbi Knobel, I think, has been basking since he arrived here, because congregations need not only challenge their rabbis, but take care of them as well. His wife, Rabbi Bernie, is one of my rabbis, and as you know, she is a spectacular person. Both of them need the space to develop a personal life, time to study and pray, time to look at the ocean, time to figure out what God wants all of us to do, time to celebrate a brilliant rabbi and an embracing congregation. So I think we're now proceeding with installing you, sanctifying you, or other people have some things to say.
We're actually going to invite Rabbi Knobel to say a few words. So
Very
Rabbi
good.
Knobel, please come forward.
Very good.
Yesher koach, thank you.
Should I just stand over here? Or sit down?
Thank you so kindly. In fact, I did turn open the parashah, and I did initially think about reward and punishment. And then it actually brought me back sort of to the original idea of our covenant. And I don't mean the covenant that we made at Sinai, and I don't mean the covenant that Abraham made together with God. I actually mean the first time that God interacts with humanity on a corporate level as we see it, interacting with a group of people as opposed to one individual person. Our ancestors left us a tale of the greatest project ever known, a tower built so high that it would enable humans to stand among the gods, to create, as our Torah teaches, a lasting name for themselves. The gods, alarmed by the boundlessness of human aspiration, frustrate the human scheme by confusing their speech. Groups of people begin to speak in different tongues until they lose the ability to communicate altogether and abandon the project, each linguistic community fleeing to a different region of the earth, bringing the ambitious Tower of Babel to an abrupt end. Our sages tell us, in fact, that the humans' unbridled ambition is what proves their undoing. So enamored by the prospect of reaching the heavens are they that they begin to neglect one another, ignoring misfortunes, even deaths, that befall their co-workers. The tower and the posterity that it represents quickly becomes their true master, robbing humanity of its compassion and its purpose. God, in turn, punishes them for their mistreatment of one another, teaching us that achievement can never come at the expense of our humanity. One of our greatest modern Jewish theologians, Martin Buber, suggests that God exists in the space between two people who look upon one another not as objects to be used or as tools for achievement, but as natural wonders to be discovered, nurtured, and appreciated. Through sincere and direct engagement with another human being, we can enter into true relationship. Through sincere and direct engagement with another human being, we unleash the pockets of divine light that are sown throughout our world, showing that godly things occur when we open our hearts and our minds to one another. These are not words that our society easily embraces. After all, ours is quite often a culture of grandstanding, one designed to appeal to prestige and accomplishments, not to connection and relationships. We catalog our accomplishments, we commemorate our accolades, we worship our achievements, we update our status. We carefully construct our persona for the world, building a tower of our triumphs for all to see. And to be perfectly fair, we should take some measure of pride in our achievements, especially when those achievements directly benefit others. But all too often, we preoccupy ourselves with our pursuits, and the people who come into our lives represent nothing more than another brick in the edifice or another witness to its majesty. Where then do we go to be ourselves? Where do we go to be appreciated for our depth, for our thoughts, for our dreams, for our character? Where do we go to see and be seen? Where do we go to open our hearts and our minds to one another? Well, the answer is simple. We come here to Stephen Wise Temple and Wise School. Here we are not only valued for our intellect or our talents. Here we are not only measured by our capability to contribute or our ability to achieve. Here we may be felt with astonishment. Each of us a new story, each of us a new encounter, each of us a new teacher, each of us a new and wondrous being. Here we may be seen for who we truly are. And here we may discover how to see others for who they truly are. In this diverse community that celebrates our differences, that welcomes a multiplicity of ethnicities, theologies, ideologies, and lifestyles, in this open-minded congregation that sees in every person a teacher and in every venue a classroom, we have fashioned a true Beit Knesset, a house of meeting that not only serves to enrich us, but to enrich our greater world. From preschool children exchanging embraces at Wise School, to teens learning about the lives of inner city children at Freedom School, to congregants sharing intimate, personal moments in adult education classes. From celebrations filled with joy to tributes filled with sadness and grief. From the person who honestly answers the question, "How are you doing?" to the person who takes the time to earnestly listen. Godly things occur when we open our hearts and our minds to one another. With that in mind, I'd like to thank all of you for generously opening your hearts and your minds to me and to my family. From the warm welcome of Wise School, its faculty, its staff, and its families, to the tender embrace of Stephen Wise Temple, its staff, its board of directors, and its congregants, I have been fortunate to discover the many blessings that relationship brings into this community. I honestly wish I could mention every name, from our facilities staff to our administrative staff to every teacher who walks the grounds, because each of you deserve personal recognition for the truly amazing people that you are and for the incredible gifts that you bring to this place each and every day. But I'm not sure we have time for that. So more specifically, I'd like to thank my colleagues who enrich this place with their tireless resolve and compassion. Tammy, Pam, and Malka, your dedication has helped fashion a school where students, parents, and teachers truly see one another, making great happen on a daily basis. Rabbi Hersher, Rabbi Stern, Rabbi Woznicka, Cantor Lamb, and Rabbi Yoshi, I could not have asked for better comrades. You have welcomed me with open arms, and I am humbled to share in our sacred journey to change the world by opening our hearts and our minds, not just to one another, but to the greater world. I'd also like to thank my teachers, my mentors, and my friends, some of whom have honored me by coming tonight. You nurtured and appreciated me, sharing your knowledge, your compassion, and your skills, inspiring me to discover and appreciate the richness of our community and our world. And a special thanks to you, Richard. Perhaps more than anyone, you're daring enough to look beyond the exterior of your students and see them for who they truly are. And by so doing, you have gained immeasurable wisdom and my immeasurable gratitude. And finally, to my family. My parents are here from Pennsylvania. My mother-in-law is here from Miami. And the trip itself is enough to say thanks, but Your hearts are as big as the earth itself, and you always find room to fit everyone inside. Thank you. And to my wife, my Rabbi, Lisa, I too was once waiting to be discovered and nurtured and appreciated. So believe me when I tell you, probably more than any other human being, you've taught me that godly things happen when we open our minds and our hearts to one another. Thank you. May this place continue to be a home to all who wish to see and be seen, a haven where we can discover, nurture, and appreciate everyone for the incredible gifts that they truly are. And when the day comes that we all exist in true relationship with one another, may we discover that there is no height we cannot ascend to together. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi Knobel, I'm going to invite your colleagues from Stephen Wise Temple, but you're also surrounded by colleagues who love you and care for you from the Hebrew Union College, colleagues with whom you've worked from other synagogues. I'd like to welcome them all up to our bima as we offer you Birkat Kohanim, as we offer you the priestly benediction. We're so glad that you're a part of our community. Our synagogue and our school are enriched because of who you are, because of the Torah that you teach, and because of the way you carry yourself, which is usually very erect, shoulders back, which I like. It's helped me with my posture as well. I'd like you all to please rise as we offer these words of blessing to our friend and our teacher, Rabbi Josh Knobel. May God bless you and may God keep you.
Yahaer Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God be kind to you and may your kindness for others always shine through.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom.
May God grant you the most precious gift of all, the gift of wholeness, the wholeness you find with your family, with your wife, with your teachers, and with this community that loves you so much, the gift of peace.
This is the way you shall be blessed from day to day. God'll be your rest. Adonai, Adonai, bless and keep you. May God's grace and God's face shine upon you. May God lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And give you peace. And give you
So the peace we feel right now, the sense of wholeness we feel right now, we celebrate with our closing song. We'll return to the melody for Oseh Shalom that we sang just a bit ago. Please join in as we give thanks to God, the maker of all, who makes peace in the high places and who makes peace for us here as well. Oseh Shalom b'mromav.
Shalom b'mromav.
Hu Yosei Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imru We're going to sing one more melody, Jose Shalom, but before we do, Sally Jones, a member of our board of directors, is going to introduce herself and wish you a Shabbat Shalom and tell you to come say hi to her. And what else are you going to say? Come, Sally. And Cantor wants one more Jose Shalom because we can never offer too many prayers of peace. Thank you, Sally.
Okay. Hi, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. I'm Sally Forster Jones, and I am here tonight and honored to be here tonight representing the Board of Directors of the Temple. And first, thank you for being here. We welcome you, and it's just beautiful. I am just like really speechless. It was so moving. So we're just an amazing temple. I couldn't be prouder. I have a couple of announcements. First, the gift shop, which is fabulous and just right outside the door, 20% off on everything.
It's a Rabbi Knobel sale. Act quickly while supplies last.
Yeah, next week we are going to hold a special Shabbat service, and as you know, they're lovely, to honor and thank Cantor Sarah and recognize her years of service. Secondly, third, we're going to have come join us for Shavuot on Saturday, June 11th, and we're going to be teaming up with many of our neighboring congregations and clergy for a community celebration, and it's going to include an evening of music and study. And then lastly, and very important, on Friday, June 24th, we're going to celebrate Rabbi Zeldin's 96th birthday. Yeah.
Shlita.
Yes. And our special guest speaker will be his grandnephew, New York Congressman Lee Zeldin. And that's it. Thank you all very, very
Shabbat
much.
shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.